Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanutasya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namaham Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So, recapping the yesterday's advanced understanding that one should follow in the first step of Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayo Dasa 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 Anudasa. So Anudasatva is coming by following not directly Radharani, but his intimate, her intimate Sakhis, and even the Manjari Sakhis helpers. So that will help them to have double, triple ecstasy, and reciprocation, because not only by serving they will have the aptitude to enjoy, but serving to the servant of the servant say servant of Radharani, the Sakhis, they also enjoy, and subsequently Krishna also enjoys. So in this way, it's they receive twice or three times or more ecstasy, and their fulfillment will be faster. So returning to the topic of whether Kamagni Bhakti or Kamanugna Bhakti is solely the realm of Vaishnavis. The example of the sage of Dandakaranya clearly shows that Vaishnavas are equally qualified in this regard. This is also confirmed by the implicit meaning of the language of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That in the verse Riramam Sam Sustu Kurban Yo Vidhi Margena Sevate. Rupa Swami refers to the candidate for Kamagna Bhakti, Kamanuga Bhakti, with the words Yaha, means anyone who, is indicates that either man or woman. It means there is no bar, because ultimately the jiva is a feminine entity, is the Shakti Swarupa, what they call Jivera Swarupa Hoyer, Nitya Krishna Das, Krishna Tatashta Shakti Veda Abheda Prakash. So the following topic concerns Gaudiya Sadhaks' interest in and practice of regulated devotion, what we are supposed to follow. Since practicing Vaishnavas follow the activities of Vaidhi Bhakti, and since they also hear of the Lord's pastimes that take place outside of Vraja, a circumstance may rise in which a devotee aspires for conjugal relationship with Krishna, like that of Dwarka's queens. In short, they do not want to be a gopi. One may wonder what is the destination for such a practitioner? Krishna himself gives the answer in Bhagavad Gita, verse beginning with Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tejante De Kalevram Tam Tam Tameveti Kaunte Sadatad Bhava Bhavita. That is, the entire verse is as follows: Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam Tejante Ante Kalevram Tam Tam Eveti Kaunteya Sadatad Bhava Bhavita. Whatever taste of being one remembers when he quits his present body, in the next life he will attain to that state without fail. This is in Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, 6th verse. So, uh, uh, even though a devotee may repeat the words of Kama Gayatri or worship of deity of Radha Krishna, which are both appropriate for the Gopi Bhav, if he is fixed on becoming Queen of Dwarka or an assistant to the Queen, then he will take birth in Dwarka. This is also the principle enshrined in the Seva Sadhaka Rupena verse. The services in Siddharupa are the factor determining the sadhaka's goal. So, what it is that one has to give up the bodily conception life, or at the end of this, the termination of the bodily activities, one can enter into that bhava, yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. So, scriptural evidence for this kind of attainment is to be found in Mahakurma Puran, which states that by performing austerities in Vedic Bhakti, the sons of Agni became the wives of Vasudeva, the origin of the universe. This is said in um, uh, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 304th verse. Is Agniputra Mahamanas Tapasa Stritvam Apare Bhartaram Cha Jagadayonim Vasudevam Ajam Vibhum. That they became the wives of Vasudeva. Sons of Agni became the wives of Vasudeva. So in this verse, both the means tapasa and the end bhartaram confirm the Vaidhi Bhakti to Krishna results in securing the position similar to that of Dwarka queens. The principle espoused in the paragraphs above also clarifies the destination of a devotee who aspires after the service of Radha Krishna, but who is engaged in the worship according to the Vaidhi Bhakti. For instance, he continues the bodily markings and the hand gestures described earlier, and the worship which demigods and Dwarka's queens are as marginal rites prescribed in Hari Bhakti Vilas. And it means Anganyas and Karanyas gestures, they are indicating to Vishnu Tattva, not Krishna Tattva. So naturally, 400 forms and predominance of the Dwarka, Krishna's presence is in 400, and therefore they can become queens of Dwarka. What destination does such a devotee attain? As established earlier, he will reach the object of his worship. Yet, because his mood is dominated by Krishna's divinity, he lacks the pure spontaneity of Raga Bhakti. Therefore, he secures Radha and Krishna not in Braj, but in portion of Vrindavan called Goloka, where Radha Krishna's sweetness is diluted with knowledge of their divinity. Reference to Goloka as an opulent portion of Goloka can be found in both Padma Puran and Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as in Laghu Bhagavatamritam. This is the quotation that Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur cites the Patal Khanda of Padma Puran in his commentary of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 303rd verse, he also cites verses. And 10th canto, 28th chapter, 14, 15, 16, and 17 verses of Srimad Bhagavatam in the same commentary, and shows clearly the reference to a Vaikuntha and Krishna's own abode, meaning Vrindavan. There is Goloka, as it is called by the name in Lagu Bhagavatamrita, first canto, fifth chapter, 498th verse. So, Goloka is the outer periphery, is the planet of the cows, and that can be understood that Dwarka is situated in that corner. So, Yattu Goloka Nama Syat Tacha Gokula Vaibhavam Sa Goloka Yatha Brahma Samhitayam Iha Srutaha. What is known as Goloka is but the majestic aspect of Gokul and is elaborately described in Brahma Samhita. Goloka eva nivasatya khilatma bhuto. Like that. Some ill-informed people argue that spontaneous worship of Krishna and regulated devotional should lead practitioner to become associate of Kubja in Mathura. But acharyas reject this proposal, arguing that the love of Kubja is inferior to that of the queens of Dwarka. How then could a worshipper with the higher mode of devotion than that which triggers Dwarka get a lower result? It is inconsistent. The proper understanding is that regulated devotion to Radha Krishna leads to Raja. However, such devotion leads to the opulent portion of Raja called Goloka. And the accomplishment of the Vaidika sadhakas is somewhat slower than that of the Raganuga bhaktas. This is the conclusion of learned authorities. So you can understand the periphery of Vraja, then interior is Goloka, and the most interior part is called Vrindavan. Besides Kamanuga Bhakti, spontaneous devotional service in practice, has a second aspect that is Sambandhanuga Bhakti, devotion that seeks to follow the Vrajvasis in one of the other three relationships. Which are the three relationships? Those relationships are servitorship, friendship, and parenthood. Amen. Rupa Goswami defines it in this way. Sa sabandhanuga bhakti prochyate sadbhir atmani yat pitrvadi sambandha nana rupanatmika. The devotees define sambandhanuga bhakti as devotion in which there is constant contemplation of one's self as a parent, friend, or a servant of Krishna, and identification with the role. This is also quoted from Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, first canto, second chapter, 305th verse. The emphasis here is on constant absorption of practitioner in service to his role model and the mood of his role model. This, of course, is the essence of Kamatmika Bhakti, but in Sambandhanuga, relationships are underlying bhava. With a corresponding greed, devotees yearn to become a servant of Yashoda Devi, Subala, or Raktaka without making the mistake of identifying themselves with these eternal associates. And of course, while following the Vrajavasis in one Siddha Rupa, one should not transpose one's mental conduct upon one's sadhaka rupa. In other words, although Subal does not follow Ekadashi, the Raganuga Bhakta continues to do so, knowing that negligence in following such limb of devotion eventually leads to a fall down. And the Skanda Puran narrates two pastimes that illustrate how devotees attain Krishna as their son. The first, spoken by Sanat Kumar, describes the sonless king who accepted his fate and instead installed a deity of Krishna, who then told the king, I have become your son. Yeah. Jiva Goswami's commentary on Bhakti Rasamrita in the first canto, second chapter, 307th verse. The second and more widely known pastime affirms that devotees should seek Vraja Bhakti by following the guidance of a guru in one's sadhaka deha. There was an old carpenter in Hastinapur who wanted Krishna as his son. And on the order of Narad Muni, he installed a deity of Krishna. And instead of following Nanda Maharaj in his Siddha Deha, as he could have done, the carpenter served the deity in his Sadhaka Deha, making no distinction between Krishna and the deity. In this way, he worshipped the deity according to Pancharatriti regulations, but always thought of the Lord as his son. In time, the carpenter achieved the result of his service and took birth in Vraja as cowherd man. And when Brahma stole the gopas and cows, Krishna became his son. And such is the power of spontaneous devotion in relationship. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu followers have written extensively on the subject of Raganuga Bhakti, especially along the lines of Tat Tat Bhavichatmik Ragatmika Bhakti, and it's ensuing Raganuga sadhana. Qualified souls may do appropriate research and reading under the Guru's supervision. As a sample of the Acharya's works, the following song of Narottam Das Thakur expressed the Manjari Bhav of the aspirant who remains fully dependent on the grace of his spiritual master. This is in Sri Prarthana song 1820th verse. Yei na badase bali Sri Rupa chahibe Hena subha krishna mora katadina habe. Oh, when will the auspicious time come when I become a young gopi maid servant to be directly instructed by Sri Rupa Manjari? Shigra agya karibena dasi betha hoya se sabar susajja karya karah tvariyaya. When will Rupa Manjari repeatedly order me, saying, Oh, maid servant, come here and quickly arrange for my fancy garment and ornaments. Anandita hanarhiya tandra agya bale pavitra man te karya karibar tatkale. To hear this request, I will become delighted and my purified mind will be fully absorbed in my service. Sebar samagri ratna thalite kariya subhasita varis varna jharite puriya. When Rupa Manjari's service, I will fill a jeweled tray with various items of worship and fill a golden goblet with aromatic water. Donhara sanmukhe hilaya divag shigra gati narottamera barase kabe haibe mati. When will I nimbly approach the divine couple Or when will Narottam Das attain this condition of life? Sri Rupa Paschate Ami Rahib Bhita Bahana Donhe Punak Kahiben Ama Pane Chana. When will I timidly follow behind Sri Rupa Manjari, who will softly say to me, now hand over the water to the divine couple? Tadaya Radaya Donhe Kahi Benas Bahasi Kothaya Paile Rupa Yei Nabadasi. After taking notice of me, when will the divine couple compassionately smile and ask Rupa Manjari, from where have you gotten this new maid servant? Sri Rupa Manjari tabe donha vakke suni Manjulali dila more yei dasiyani. Hearing these words, will Rupa Manjari say, oh, Manjulali gave her to me as your maid, handmaid, new handmaid. Ati namra chitta ami haibe janila seva karya nibata be hethaila rakila. Hearing this sweet exchange, I shall feel with humble at heart and continue my diligent engage in divine couple service. Hena tattva dohakare sakshate kahiya narottame sebaya deve and niyukta kariya. And when will the time come when that divine couple directly speak to Narottam Das and further engage him in their service? Ha ha Prabhu Lokanath Rakhapada Dvande Kripa Drashti Chaha Chadi Haya Anande. O Lokanath Goswami, O my master, be pleased with me and place me at your lotus feet so that I may be blessed with your merciful glance. Manovancha Siddhitabe Hana Purna Krishna Hithaya Chaitanya Mile Sitharatha Krishna. If you are satisfied with me, then all the wishes of my mind will be fulfilled and my thirst for happiness satiated. If you are satisfied with me, then I will attain the association of Chaitanya and the service of Radha and Krishna. Tumi na karile daya, he karibare yar, manera basana pura kara eivar. But, O Master, if you do not become merciful, then what will become of me? Where will I go? Therefore, I request you, please fulfill my mind's desire at least this one time. Etina samsare more aar ke hanai, kripa kari nija pada tale dehathani. In this entire world, there is no one as much in need of your mercy as I. Please, therefore, be merciful and give me the shelter at the sole of your lotus feet. Radha Krishna Leela Guna Gana Ratri Dine Narottama Vancha Purna Nahetu Yabine. Although he spends all his days and nights glorifying the transcendental pastimes and attributes of Radha Krishna, nevertheless, Narottam Das knows that his desire for their association will not be fulfilled without your mercy. Uh, so, this is the advanced state of Narottam Das Thakur's meditation. Then, simply desiring, but with the help of Guru, he can beg the required amount of mercy to serve Radha and Krishna directly in his meditation. So, if we need to think on this system, I think there's Raganuga Bhakti in the form of the tat tat bhava chatma ragatmika bhakti is very well to be understood, and it's upon performing that raganuga sadhana, that is called raganuga sadhana. So qualified souls may do appropriate research and reading under the Guru's supervision. This is a matter of research. And we need to cultivate that aptitude by referring several books that have been suggested, that gives direct perception. Confidential devotional service always gives direct perception. Pratyaksha avagamam, direct perception. So we have to humbly understand all these terms, and it will be very helpful. So we need to help each other by jotting down different types of the Ragatmika Bhakti, which has been described with their differences. And we see the Ragatmika Bhakti, which is intimately performed in the realm of Goloka, Vrindavan, is different than performance of that same Ragatmika Bhakti, even to Radha and Krishna, but Radharani will be replaced by Ashta queens, 8 queens, chief queens in Dwarka. So naturally, the mood will be different. And even though Lakshmi Narayan deities would be there, Krishna would be four-handed, but whether he's two-handed in the mind of the sadhak, that doesn't matter. The result will be that it will be in the realm of opulence rather than the Ragatmika Bhakti of Vrindavan, the gopis. So this is the best for the householder. It is said that they must have Radha Krishna deity and worship in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan. So they will not transgress. And AF has already arrived in a different, relationship which has no foundation. So a whimsical thing is to be avoided even in the sadhaka rupa stage. It is also said that this subject matter has been written by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's followers very extensively on Raganuka Bhakti, especially along the lines of Tad Bhave Chatmika, Ragatmika Bhakti, and its ensuing Raganuga Sadhana. Qualified souls have to study well and make a research, you know, in further understanding or clarifying such understanding or simplifying such understanding by appropriate research. Who would do that?
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. So is it appropriate for us to go through these books of Shivaram Swami before we try and look anywhere else?
Well, it is much more safer that in our time, place and circumstances, Shivaram Maharaj is paving the way. Nobody in ISKCON has written about this subject matter this extensively. All right? So we must study. But then we can also do some research simultaneously. You know, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu is there, and that is following in Rupa Manjari. So we are not going to transgress, but research is essential in the sense that, you know, we do not know at this level what attitude we are showing towards the following the one that will suit us. Who would be the one? Guru has to help also.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
You know, and that's why it was simply said that this settlement for worship and Raganuga must be guided by Guru and all these different dashas which are gradually manifesting. Shravana dasha, like that. Okay. All these dashas has to. So this is to be done in association with Guru. Okay.
Thank you, Guru.
Yeah. Guru is not a magician that will create a particular dasha, because he is also a sadhak in Ragatmika Bhakti. So the guide is essential. And in the hierarchical level, Guru's position is also of a sadhak. And that is allowed. Madhyamadhikaris are allowed to become gurus.
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
All right. And they gradually grow.
Okay. Some questions from Asitaraja Prabhu to Guru Maharaj.
Yes.
His first question is that we're all in Vairi Bhakta of Radha and Krishna, serving them as Lakshmi Narayan.
Yes.
So how does this interfere with one's mood to follow Ragagni Bhakti in Vraj?
Eventually, because awe and reverence of Lakshmi Narayan worship is essential, the foundational stage that we cannot transgress, you know. But transformation or transit situation would be there. Because the process is perfect, it will take us into a higher or deeper understanding for higher taste.
I think your answer about being under the guidance of the Guru helps with that transition, right, Guru Maharaj?
Right.
Okay. His next question, he wants to know what is the literal meaning of Manjari?
Literary meaning of Manjari is, have you seen Manjari on Tulsi?
Yes, Guru Maharaj, I was thinking of that.
Tulsi Manjari is the budding flowerings, small flowers of tulsi, but they also fructify, all right, and make the seed. So manjaris are essential part of the continuation of the service. There is no transition, but the bhava is continued. So Tulasi and Tulasi Manjari, they are very important practical guru tattva that you can follow from them. So Manjari is also becoming guru. Yes. Sakhis are also becoming guru. And they all carry Krishna's super excellent understanding and conveying through their respective devotional service.
And the next he writes as a comment, but he may want confirmation. He says, before we go into Goswami literature, we must complete comprehensive study of 10th canto to properly understand Krishna's pastimes as Vraj, as a precursor. That we can't do without the acharyas anyway, because only their commentaries help us to understand, right?
You can read the translation, but you cannot meditate unless you follow in the footsteps of the Goswamis. So, whether you can read, then you will have to come back to understand systematically. Otherwise, when we are very steadfast devotees, regulated devotees, the spontaneity is still hidden, but it will get an opportunity to be exposed and study simultaneously the mood and mission of each and every gopi, and how Sukdev Goswami is reflecting that. So every verse would be a verse of enlightenment. And we may attach ourselves to a particular inclination of service, and that will be our guiding guru.
Thank you very much.
All right.
He says, thank you. Your approval to go into Goswami literature is very important.
Yeah. Now, that's why we studied as a standard textbook, but it's often quoted because Rupa Goswami is the Mulacharya of the Rasa Tattva.
Prabhupada also said that reading Bhakti Nectar of Devotion every day, one could go back to Godhead.
Yeah, because it exposes, different moods, and you also try to fit in whichever is applicable.
And he puts so many examples in the later chapters of different moods of different devotees.
Yes. Even writing this, Shivaram Maharaj refers to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu so often.
So much. Today, so many verses all in a row, from 303 to 307, I think, all in a row. He was quoting every verse, commentaries on it.
Right. If we understand this framework of system and keep in mind, and then we can try to understand whose devotional service will be in which category and what is the reciprocation by Krishna, which is what Sukdev Goswami writes. That is also a part of research.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. It was also suggested before that we could look at the Sadhaka Rupas and Chaitanya's Leela and get attached to them, and then see what their Siddha Rupa is, wasn't it?
Right. Almost same thing.
Yes, Gurmat. Anyone else have any questions or comments? Someone unmuted and then muted, but I didn't see the name. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Anyway, Longlata, you can call Radha Vallabh.
Hi, Gurmat.
And we should be having some kind of, meeting, because prior to this class, we have discussed some part, and whatever is in my mind, I will try to tell and see what kind of structure, and where the plumbing could be, and this and that, we will try to, make some adjustment. You will
Yes,
decrease the
Gurmat.
floor.
Yeah, I have to make some adjustment, and
Right.
they really have to decide on this AC thing, because
Yeah.
that's essential to our ceiling heights. I mean, I'm
Right.
going on a floor to floor of 3.2 meters, but if we have to allow for ducting as well, that might put our ceiling height below 9 foot, which I prefer not to do. But I don't really see the reason for that in the upper levels. Oops, we can stop this recording.
Okay.
On that record.
Yeah.